My father used to say, "Watch this man."
He's been cited by IGN, The Quartering, Timcast, The Daily Wire, Bounding Into Comics, and even Dr. Jordan B. Peterson.
Disney insider WDW Pro recently speculated on.
Time and time again, he's broken big entertainment news live on the air.
I've been following WDW Pro and his track record for years. If you want to find out what's on the horizon for theme parks, Pro is where you go.
Let's check in on Rian Johnson's new trilogy.
Okay. I bypassed the compressor.
What did you do, Ray? Donovan, that's gonna leave a mark.
Now, he was okay, you know, after 6-7 weeks. Okay? You know, they get over it. Kids are resilient like that.
Yeah.
I hate it.
You know, it's the standard, what would George do?
I don't want you here.
So sorry, George, I didn't think it would go like this.
Fly, you fools.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Weird. Stay away from liquor, kids.
I have always liked Cowabunga.
Cowabunga!
Now that's more like it, Mr. Wayne.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
The Force will be with you. Always.
That's how winning is done.
I am vengeance. I am the night.
That's what she said.
I am Batman.
If I won tonight, I would come home and we'd celebrate. Well, I'm coming home, we're celebrating. God bless you all.
Watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just 2 minutes, the lighting at the Magic Kingdom will dim for the performance of the Pro Show. We hope you enjoy and have a magical, truthful time. For the safety of others, please, no flash photography. Hi-ho, and welcome to Provision 3D.
Alright, everyone, put on your comfy glasses. I'm going.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
You know that you've been taught the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Yes, Paul.
Autobots, roll out.
I'm bringing the party to you.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money.
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
We're gonna do it!
All right, it's time to go to school, son. Come on, get your hands up, man.
Are you okay?
They'll never take for freedom!
From the redwoods of California to the hills of Tennessee to the Rockies in the Sunshine State and Maine with that bright and shining sea. From coast to coast in North America, it's time for your host with the most, bringing you all the entertainment news that should be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the WDW Pro Show!
At least that's what I hear.
Wait, what?
Let's go!
Jabba, right?
Oh no!
It's a Sarlacc!
Star Wars Outlaws pre-order available now.
Guys,
You're the one who's out of this world, sweet baby. You're the one who's out of this world.
Hello, folks, and welcome aboard the good ship Jonas J. Campbell, and he is flying somewhere out there in space. Jonas, where are you? Where are you? I think I see Neptune out there.
No, that's not Neptune. That's Pluto.
Yeah, you know the joke we were supposed to make. You didn't do it. You didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
You knew it. I know you knew it. Hey,
you know, we've changed the name of that planet. It's no longer Uranus. It's Eurectum.
No, that's what they said when they in Last Jedi when they did the Holdo maneuver and shot through over there. That was Eurectum. All right, folks. Eurectum. That is the folks.
You
out there.
do not want a starship going through there.
Yeah, I've seen things you don't want to see in that place, I tell you. Hey, folks, look what you did. You beat the algorithms and 150,000 subscribers. Actually, 153, Jonas, now. But 150,000 subscribers in just 2 years, almost on the money. And, folks, it's not even funny how wonderful you all have been. You've put us here in this place, and it is an honor every single day that we get to do what we get to do. We also not only get to speak to the best audience with the highest IQ on the internet, but also, Jonas, we get to talk with some of the smartest and brightest and best and funniest people I know, and we've got some of those individuals joining us tonight on the panel. Folks, we've got news to cover, so don't come here just thinking, oh, it's going to be one of those pat themselves on the back. We don't even know how to do that. We don't have time for patting on the back. Dust on the shoulders, Jonas, dust on the shoulders. We've got panelists, though, and let's bring them on.
Of course, we need to add in the resident Star Wars guru, the man that holds the Journal of the Wills itself, Mr. Lorne Connor.
Howdy, folks. How's everybody doing?
I thought you were going to correct me on the incorrect usage of the Journal of the Wills there for a second.
No. I didn't sense any incorrect usage. You were perfect.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Also,
you know who else is perfect?
Well, now, wait a minute, Jonas. We messed up. I don't know if you know this, but we're supposed to bring Lorne on last because every time Lorne comes on last, the entire panel goes, Lorne, like it's cheers.
All right, kick me out.
Derek Ailes and Mary White did?
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Premature.
Forgive me. One thing I do know is that L is real, and he's alive and today as Nolan Thunder. Speaking of L's that are real, you are muted, sir.
That's been my night. I just heard we were having a ceremony of pat ourselves on the back. Am I right?
There you go. Let the back patting begin, I suppose. I won't, though. Frozen shoulders, both sides.
All right. Let's welcome him in. You know him. He is one of the frequent guests over there at Quarks, over on the promenade of Deep Space Nine. Sorry, misread that. It's actually Lorne.
Lorne!
I'm back. I was busy typing. I wasn't paying attention.
That feels better.
We've missed you, brother.
And joke.
That was more like it. How's everybody doing tonight? Are we ready for a big show? We've got more panelists joining us, by the way, but they're a little slow in getting here. We'll get them in here, folks. It's not going to be like last week where Marvin comes cozying up to us at the last second. No. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. But panel, how are you?
Doing well.
Woo! There we go. I like it. Enthusiasm.
I'm really, really glad for this to be a nice Friday wrap up to the week.
That's right. All right. Well, Jonas, we've got super chats, and I can think of no better way to get started than to going to them and put our esteemed audience on the screen, sir.
Yeah, we should do that. Oh, wait, that's my job. Speaking of which, Olaf is not able to join us right now as a mod, but he is, because it's like 4 a.m. where he's at, and we don't expect that of our mods here on the channel. But Olaf sends in a member for 21 months, 4 a.m. here. So congrats on 150K on to 200K.
Thank you. And folks, one of the few clips we have not yet adjusted the volume is our homage and our gratitude to our mods and wrenches out there. We have better wrenches than Jay, Drunk 3PO. Don't tell him. Or you can. We've got the best wrenches in the world here and the most expensive wrenches, and they're loud. They'll hurt your eardrums. So if you're wearing speakers, lower the volume. Here we go. Let's celebrate our wrenches and Olaf, who, if he's asleep and left his computer on, this is about to wake him up at 4 a.m. Here we go.
That is a really loud clip.
And a really big wrench. We don't go small here. We don't do that.
Me and my monkey, member for 13, happy 150K pro. It has been a ride of a lifetime.
Well, thank you, me and my monkey. And it's just getting started. You know, we used to have this spiel. You all know that part of the appeal here is that we have these things that we say, these catchphrases. So explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. I know these Holly weirds better than they know themselves. Those kinds of things, right? Well, one of the things we used to say is we've got 5 decades left in the can, and we're not even getting started yet. We haven't used that in a while, but it terrifies our opponents when we say we've got 50 more years. Like, we're not slowing down. So long as I have breath in my body and a pulse anywhere, I will be doing this because I love it. I love what I do. It's a 4-letter word that ends with K called work. And yet I am passionate about it, and I don't think I'll ever get tired of it, Jonas.
Yeah, fire trucks. Yeah.
Sorry, Disney.
Let's see here. Packing Protons.
Somewhere Bob Iger had a shiver up his spine when I said that.
Packing Protons for $5. Happy 150. Some news. TMNT 87 coming to Me TV, apparently. Would be nice if it was a proper transfer. Yes, although I did pick up a complete set of 2 different Ninja Turtle series the other day.
Did one of them include the 87 animation?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
There's like 10 seasons of that. There's the 2003 series that they almost always refuse to put in a complete set.
So what's the Ninja Turtle game? Shredder's Revenge, is that the game?
The newer one, yeah.
Oh, man, I played that with some of the younger members of my family recently. I had a bunch of them over, you know, the kiddos, right? The nephews, the nieces, and got 6-player going on. And you had even more kids than that. So they were taking turns swapping in and out, but you had 6. That is a fantastic game. And I love everything to do with those older turtle properties. It's just so much fun. So colorful, so bright. It's a great thing.
And the theme song by Chuck Lorre. Sutton Creek Productions for $2. Congratulations on the 153K subs, pro.
Well, you're giving away that we're going to have a 153,000 subscriber celebration next week, folks. No, I can't.
Hey, look at this. John Maynor for $5. Congrats, pro, on your now 153K members. Let's keep going. And dropping a 20 WDW Pro membership gift. Thank you very much, John Maynor.
You know, we got to pause for the cause, Jonas.
That's right.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
When a pirate shares his treasure with you, know that it came at a cost, even from the likes of someone such as Captain John Maynor.
There you go. He's a pirate.
Real nice guy, that guy. Packing Protons for $5. We need a new emoji to celebrate intro band's loan. Yay! Yay!
I like that his new name is Intro Man. If only that guy from the 50s had known that one day he would be Intro Man. Packing Protons, we are going to start the poll. We have been receiving for the past week a new emoji suggestion from everybody. Members can go to the community tab, and you still got about 12 hours left to tell me what emoji you would like. But we're going to take the highest voted ones of those, put out a poll, and then we're going to decide what emoji we're going to be adding to the list. Of course, folks, you can find in the chat right now the 150K emoji as well as the blue lobster emoji, which is what we use now whenever we're talking about ridiculous budgets, often from Disney and Star Wars. And we put that up there because at one point we measured the budget of one of these Star Wars things in how many ultra rare blue lobsters you could purchase with that budget. It was in the millions. It was crazy.
In the millions. Liberty Hall's Cat for $4.99 Pro. Congrats on the 140K. Unfortunately, I will not be able to watch the festivities tonight, so have a great stream, and I'll catch the replay. And then for $2 more, arg, I meant 150K. Cannot type on an iPhone. Yeah, and I get you there.
As we've said before, folks, don't super chat to fix a typo. We understand what those little devices called iPhones and Galaxies and all of those, we know what they do to you. So don't worry about that. We'll correct it for you. Don't worry about sending in extra money. We don't need you to do that. We care about you. Spend that on a delicious coffee the next day and have a simultaneous sip with us. Jonas, we must hit the news. Can we do it?
Right. I think that we can.
You think
yes,
we can?
I think that we can. Yes. Although, yeah, I think we can. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What do you? I don't even want to know. I don't know what you had planned there. I don't know why you stalled for a moment.
I thought that I accidentally backed out of StreamYard for a second. That's why. Go ahead.
All right, folks. This one, I have been looking forward to this all day long. This is a topic that we did not put in the pro show. So it was a weird pro show. I don't know if, Jonas, did you notice that the topics were a little strange when we were doing it? Because they were mostly, they kind of dabbled a bit into the political arena. And they were necessary, right? Because like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they're in entertainment. And so, you know, they're out against free speech. Because what else are you going to do if you're a spoiled brat with your bride living in America other than go after free speech? But we had topic after topic like that. Carrie Underwood getting backlash for agreeing to do the inauguration. And one topic we did not get to do on purpose. We saved it just for you, Lauren. And you, Nolan, but really just you, Lauren. Nolan, I said that to make you feel better, but it's really just for Lauren. No, Nolan, we love you. This is the one I've been waiting on. Take a look, folks. This one, and I just want to give a heads up. If you've been on the WDW Pro Patreon, 2 days ago, we talked about how we were hearing from our sources that a crisis team had been brought on. And if we get a chance, Jonas, I don't know if Lou is going to be able to make it tonight. He had some thoughts on that crisis team, and I'd love to get his thoughts if he makes it in.
He's got the link if he wants it.
It's a late evening, I understand. But so we talked about a crisis team, and literally within 12 hours, we were not ready to talk about this on the channel. We still aren't. I mean, we still have a lot of work to do, a lot of investigative work before we can talk about this crisis team and what it is and where it comes from. A lot of work to do. So, but we put it on the Patreon, and 12 hours later, this stuff starts leaking out. And I just thought, isn't that something? Isn't that something? So let me read this. And then, Lauren, man, do I have a lot to ask you about this. As we do this one, folks, I just want to remind you that, and panel, you can correct me. If I'm making this up, you tell me I'm just a liar and we'll fix it. But we, for a long time, have said that in this Mandalorian movie, they have to have a way to get the audience to go see the film. And so they were going to put Luke and Leia and Han together. Well, we're hearing that now. I mean, we're hearing that very strongly now that that's likely to happen. So with that in mind, that they're finally going to give you the trio, apparently, allegedly, there in the Millennium Falcon, just like you've always wanted. Here's the article. Bespin Bulletin has it. January 13th, Imbo to feature as the main villain in Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu. And there you can see Imbo over there. He looks like some sort of, what would you say, steampunk Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat. That's what he looks like. And if we said Imbo is going to be the new main villain and you said who-oh, well, we don't blame you because it surely is a deep cut. You thought it was going to be Thrawn? Think again. Another day and another scoop I was working on has appeared via another individual or outlet. When you snooze, you lose. You know, who's the author over here? Just Bespin. We'll find out later. I think it's just one guy who does Bespin. And I feel sorry for him, you know, if somebody else got this. Christian Harloff has exclusively broke today via his YouTube show that Imbo, the bounty hunter that was previously featured in the Star Wars animated series Clone Wars, can't believe Filoni with another character, I can't believe it, is due to appear in the next live-action Star Wars theatrical release, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and is being voiced by Dave Filoni.
Wait. Embo is the voice of... Sorry, Embo is voiced by Dave Filoni?
Yes, he also voices...
Chopper.
Yes, Chopper, and why can't I think of his name right now? Plo Koon. Plo Koon.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a theatrical release.
I didn't realize he was Plo Koon as well. Well,
I think he is. Wait a minute. I may have him mixed up. Hang on a second. Let me double check that.
This is a theatrical release. Like Dave, you don't get Dave Filoni to voice never mind. We'll just keep on going. We'll just keep that. I mean, they hired Leslie Headland.
Sorry, I got that wrong. Plo Koon was James Arnold Taylor.
James Arnold
he voiced
Taylor,
him as well as Obi-Wan.
Kick him out. He doesn't know anything about Star Wars. Kick him out. After a couple of busy days, the author over here at the Bespin was writing up an exclusive report that was due to release tomorrow that Imbo would feature in The Mandalorian and Grogu as a villain. The author was told of Imbo's involvement in the feature film around the festive period, along with a handful of other details about the film. You know, that's a way of just saying Christmas without saying Christmas. You could just say Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever you want to say, but the festive period, that's a long way of saying just what we all, normally would say in normal English. Anyway, Harloff revealed that, and this is where it keeps getting better. You know what? No. That's not how we do this show. We're stopping there for a moment. We'll get to the rest. Folks, this is, oh my gosh, what a great story. This just gives and gives. Before we go any farther with this, Lorne, tell us, who is Imbo? Is this like a really bad Lion King character that somehow escaped to Star Wars? Who is he? And is Dave Filoni the right guy to play the villain in the next Star Wars theatrical release?
Well, he's a bounty hunter, and he's a minor character, but he's a fun character. He showed up in several episodes of the Clone Wars. My favorite was a tribute to the Seven Samurai, which, was a huge influence on George Lucas and Star Wars, and so they did a little tribute there. They did a similar tribute in The Mandalorian. They kind of rehashed the plot and redid the episode. Embo doesn't speak Basic, so if you have Dave Filoni voicing him, it will be alien gibberish. So I don't think it'll really it'll bother people in that way.
I can't wait for a villain that only speaks in subtitles.
It's bizarre. It is bizarre to make him the villain of this thing, because he's a bounty hunter. He's neutral. He's not really a villain. He's just a guy for hire. And I think Embo, while he's a minor character, he's got his fans, and he's not generally looked at as a bad guy. Obviously, the people that are bankrolling him are going to be the real villains here, but it feels weird to put him in the villain position.
So what you're saying is Embo only pawn in Game of Life.
Sure.
Imbo away. Nolan, every time Filoni steps in this, I feel like the scope and scale of whatever he's doing just kind of shrinks. I think there's a Star Wars shrinkage problem. Could you talk to us a little bit about Dave Filoni's Star Wars shrinkage problem?
Well, I'm not a doctor, but I can give my opinion on where things seem like they're going. He's kind of... I like the idea. I like the concept they're going with here. I don't think it's a problem of, kind of narrowing the view to go with a villain they've done in the past before, as opposed to creating a brand new villain. Because I'm a sucker for the whole idea of, hey, let's take an obscure villain, let's make them awesome. Anyone who saw, like, say, for example, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the Spot was routinely seen as like a joke Spider-Man villain, and they actually did something quite threatening and actually did something really creative with the idea. So I think kind of narrowing the view on that could actually really work if they can write it well. But as we saw with like Ahsoka, we don't know if they're really in the best hands here. I like the idea of having Filoni voice this, because I think we're starting to get a better grip on, in Lucasfilm, who the true villains are. In fact, if they wanted to have Kathleen Kennedy voice somebody, I think that'd be quite realistic. I'd take it.
You know, she could literally just be the villain. That would be something.
Fade in.
Yeah, her skip power is demasculinization. Hey, before we go any further, though, I want to bring on another panelist to help us talk through what we're seeing happening with Star Wars. And pure desperation is what we're about to get to in terms of what they're doing to try to make this work. But Jonas, let's bring on our next panelist.
Who could that be? Let's go see, boys and girls.
And it's Lou.
So when you think of desperation, you think of me? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. But listen, Star Wars.
Because I'll tell you how desperate I am. When I hear the name Embo, you know what goes through my mind? They should get somebody to AI Leonard Nimoy's voice and do a whole thing of Embo Baggins. Oh, many feet tall. Remember that thing?
I
That's
do
been
remember.
a long time. Yeah.
Now, Lou, you've got a little static on your mic. I want to get your thoughts.
Oh, again?
And then we'll fix the mic issue after this. But before we fix the mic, Lou, you and I talked yesterday, the day before, I don't remember, but we talked about this crisis team because I was asking you in background about what you thought that would be, because it's a little nebulous for us and we're trying to investigate it. It's still rumor and speculation territory. But Lou, given what we're finding out now about the Mandalorian Grogu movie, where it is definitely not at the scale we thought in terms of the villainy, what do you think what does it say to you when you hear crisis team with your work in Hollywood and your career? Like, what do you think that might be?
Well, the first thing is they named it wrong. That's bad PR. Crisis, anything implies fear. And we know Bob has none, right? But maybe somebody's waking up. On the other hand, I just posted back on our channels a story that says that the Voices of Liberty at Epcot are getting all new costumes made from recycled materials. Like that's a virtue.
Get out of here.
By the way, they look terrible.
Get
but it's like
they just changed them and made them look worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even look like period piece.
They look
anymore.
like a high
Something
school
weird.
production of Be Our Guest is what they look like. And
That is correct. But we love the Voices of Liberty. They are still talented. At least they're still hiring people who can sing. So that's a plus.
What a concept.
That's right.
Lou,
All right,
Lou, we got too much. We had to mute you.
We'll bring Lou back in just a minute, folks, as soon as we get his mic situation fixed. Jonas, we have another panelist joining us, though. Let's bring him on in.
That's right. I thought you were about to play a clip there, Pro. So I'm just going to say...
Wait. I'll play the clip. You want the clip? I'll play the clip.
I don't know.
People shall finally reign supreme.
Crab people.
Lou, you fixed your mic.
I wish I had a snappy retort that would have involved some very clever anecdote that may have gotten a little saucy at the end, but I don't have one.
All right, well, we're going to bring Lou back in just a minute, folks. But before we do, and welcome to you, Kevin. For folks who don't know, this is Kevin Apollo. You could maybe figure it out. His name's up there, but he's Kevin Apollo, and never has a name been so deserving. Here we go. Let's go back for a moment to the article, though, telling us what's going to happen in this Mandalorian Grogu movie, where we thought, surely, that this would be the beginning of a trilogy, a Thrawn trilogy. Apparently not. Harloff revealed that Rotta, Lauren, how do we say it?
I'd say Rotta.
Rotta the Hutt plays a prominent role in the movie.
Although they called him Stinky.
Just stop, man. Come on.
I'm not kidding. That was his gimmick in this Clone Wars movie. He farted a lot.
Yeah, Anakin called him Stinky.
I forgot about that.
I can't do this anymore.
Stop it. Get some help.
All right. Okay, so the adventure we're going on that's supposed to save Star Wars. Let's all remember, we haven't had a Star Wars movie in years and years. And this is a Jon Favreau movie that is a season 4 changed into a full-blown theatrical release. And it wasn't good enough for Jon Favreau to be in charge of this. Dave Filoni put Dave Filoni in charge of rejiggering the script. And what Lauren is telling us now is that we're on a quest to save Stinky, the farting Hutt. I get that right?
I can see what's happening.
Also belching.
But they don't have a clue.
All right, let's keep going, folks. I mean, just when you think it can't get worse. Harloff believes that Mando and Grogu are hired to rescue Stinky the Hutt. On the flip side, Imbo, the main villain of the story, has been hired to kill Stinky. The details that Harloff has revealed are ones that I too was told. This is the author, not me. So the author of Bespin can back up the reporting, not that he needs it. And the author says, I'll add that I believe that Imbo Iwe is hired by some Hutts, possibly the 2 featured in the book of Boba Fett. Conflicting things were heard on who hired Mando, and once was told that it was the Hutts that hire Mando, another time it was the Republic. Okay. All right, so that's where we are right now with this. And they stop there. But I just want to remind folks, this is out there, and if anybody on the panel wants to grab this, I don't know if we can find it quickly enough to get it in the show, but there are people now reporting what we've been saying for more than a year, which is that Luke, Leia, and Han will be brought back for this, for a little CGI cameo. And what I think that they're failing to recognize is we wanted Luke, Leia, and Han to be together, but if they're there to shoot a laser and save the day for 5 seconds so that Mando can rescue Stinky, I just got to think that's not exactly what people had envisioned. So let's go ahead and bring Lou back. We're going to do a mic check on Lou.
How do I sound now?
Lou, you sound marvelous.
Well, then let me suggest that bringing them back for that is kind of analogous to we're getting the gang back together at the end of Picard with the Enterprise crew all joining up on the old ship. So maybe they got their cue from that, saying it worked for them. Maybe we'll try it. I don't know.
It's like getting the gang back together. You know, it's like getting. I'm trying to think of who would. It's like getting the Beatles back together somehow. You know, you managed to bring them all back together to play kazoos at a birthday party. It's not what you wanted.
It's not even that cool. It would honestly be a bit of a cop-out because we got to face the reality is that Carrie Fisher has passed on, and we've seen a lot of this kind of concept with those AI videos all over YouTube. I could probably find 12 of them right now of like what the sequels could have looked like. If they already have to CGI one of them and Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill are just relegated to cockpit of the Millennium Falcon or something like that, is that really going to make anyone that excited?
Especially if they shoot it at the park. In the ride.
They'll have to trim the trees too.
That are literally growing on the props.
No, I mean for the cockpit. You know, why build a set when you've got a bad fake already ready to go?
That's a good point. It's a good point. Save some money on this thing. All right. So who wants to play devil's advocate here? And maybe you don't have to play too hard. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Who here would like to be in defense of Filoni at this point? Anybody? Any takers on this? Anyone saying to themselves, well, you know, Imbo and Stinky, they might be just what we need to revivify Star Wars.
No, to be fair, he probably designed this as if it was just another extension of something that he already worked on. And he's really good at making animated shows that are intended for a childlike audience that sometimes flirt with the nostalgia that grown-ups feel about Star. I'm sorry, I just can't do this. He's really kind of stunted as a director, and putting him in something for grown-ups, to work on something for grown-ups, he really struggles when he has to play in the big leagues here. So I get the feeling that this is not enough Favreau and a little too much Filoni.
From Star Wars Theory, apparently the big plot of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is all about Mando and Grogu rescuing Stinky against Imbo Iwe, who wants to kill Stinky. And folks,
the first question that comes to mind is, do we care?
No, that's the problem here. No, this fellow on the right, this is Stinky. This is the belching, farting Hutt that Star Wars success, the resurrection of Star Wars hinges on people caring about that little stinkworm over there.
And buying plushies.
We did kind of talk about this in the back a little bit before we started. We don't know what kind of age he's going to be at this point. If this is taking place, say, roughly after season 3 of The Mandalorian, then from the time of the Clone Wars, you've got several years that have passed. Now, Hutts can live to be an extremely old age, but I think they age at a normal rate. I think that they are not like baby Grogu, so we're likely dealing with an adult Hutt at this point, and that might change the tone.
It'll be really awkward if Ahsoka tries to carry him on like a backpack again, like a full-size Hutt. That would be really bad.
for Ahsoka's back, certainly.
The
the Hutt that broke Ahsoka's back. There you go.
So we recently talked about in Ahsoka season 2, the rumor is that they're going to be bringing back Ewan McGregor. They're going to bring back Hayden. We might get a flashback battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan. And this seems to me like they're throwing everything they have at this, and they don't have much, apparently. So I hope I'm wrong. Like, this is so bad that it's embarrassing. So I hope that this is not the Mandalorian script. I hope this is a false script that they've thrown out there to throw people off the trail. And that's possible. Like, I want to be wrong. Everybody listening to this, in case there's egg on our face in the future, and the Mando movie is nothing about this, I hope I'm wrong. Because this is actually, well, it's Stinky itself. And nobody's, so far, Lauren, you're usually the one who opts in and says, well, actually, what they could do. And not even you right now are jumping in to say, well, you know, Stinky has some likable qualities to him that we could go with.
Redeeming social value?
I mean, maybe if it was Zorba the Hutt.
Rotta was always a mistake. Rotta never should have been in the continuity, period. And as others in the chat have mentioned, a big part of the problem if this is the script is it's essentially a rehash of the 2008 Clone Wars movie, which itself was not terribly popular.
Who was the director on the Star Wars The Clone Wars movie in 2008?
Gosh, I wonder. And as other people have mentioned, that
Jonas,
was just a bunch of Clone Wars episodes that were edited together. So it was never really. Go ahead.
If it was Zorba the Hutt, maybe there's a product placement tie-in deal with Chick-fil-A because it's never on Sunday.
You were saying product placement deal. You were calling him Stinky. I'm like, man, I'd love if they do like an Old Spice tie-in or something like that. I'll take Terry Crews in this thing.
So this is a big enough story that I actually want to keep talking about this because we're gonna come back to it, and there's a Moana strategy to this that I really want us to dive deep into. But Jonas, we don't normally cut into the middle of a story with super chats. I feel like we should though, and then we'll come back to this.
We should. We absolutely should.
Let's do that. We'll come back, and I'm going to tell you how this lines up with what Bob Iger seems very apt to do lately. Go ahead, Jonas.
Yep. First of all, I want to say hello to our good friend Knee Pain is out in the chat. It says, remember all the you better to leave the kids alone shills? They sure were quiet when, things came from their own ranks. Yes, they were very quiet.
Yep.
And then followed by Knee Pain gifting 5 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you very much, Knee Pain. Appreciate you and appreciate your work.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Knee Pain, for everything you do. And Knee Pain has sent us stuff in the past that we have greatly appreciated, continues to be a great friend of the channel.
Yep. J Light Lady gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you very much, J Light Lady.
Very kind.
Yep. Angela Richter gifted 1 WDW Pro membership. Thank you very much, Angela. And so did Samuel Main gifting 1 WDW Pro membership. He's
Not just the main, he's the man.
That's right. Ewan Cumia gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you very much, Ewan.
Thank you so much, Ewan. That's very kind. We always appreciate seeing you in the audience.
Yep, and I'm leading up to something here. We're going up the yellow brick road here. I should say the green brick road, because John Maynor has gifted another 20 WDW Pro memberships.
John Maynor, you're ridiculous tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you. Very, very kind. And folks, if you received a gifted membership from any of these benevolent figures out there, make sure to say thank you. And guess what? A double dose of genre, guys, is coming out tomorrow, and you'll get to hear all kinds of member-exclusive content from the likes such as Lauren and Lou, and I think you'll love it, folks. I think you'll enjoy it.
A double dose? You're putting them both out the same day? Wow.
Well, Lou, I realized we had enough in the can that we can do a double, and so we're trying to reward everybody because the 150K, we're so excited. By the way, folks, not only we get a double dose of the genre, guys, but if you remember the channel, almost all of the perks of being a channel member are going to be made available to just about everybody who is a member. That means no matter what level you are, you get just basically every perk. There are a few exceptions, but almost everything for about a week or two while we celebrate 150K.
By the way, I see waiting in the wings our next guest genre guy host, returning an engagement from before, and that's Marvin. And we're gonna we're going to enjoy the wonderful world of Douglas Fairbanks and Walter Slazak and Anthony Quinn and Maureen O'Hara and Sinbad the Sailor as they go to Dariaba.
I'm excited to watch that, Lou. I've actually never seen it before.
It's a wonderful, wonderful movie. And Walter Slazak is so wonderfully sneaky sleazy, I tell you.
Well, before we go any further in what we're discussing right now, folks, we need to celebrate John Maynor and the rest who have been so kind, so let's play it one more time.
When a pirate shares his treasure with you, know that it came at a cost, even from the likes of someone such as Captain John Maynor.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you!
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh! Who is the man who has teased your Disney? Arrogant, compromised all morality. Your pimples and showers are something you miss. Fire a policeman to keep your office. Cringe Mob Wolfpins. Cringe Mob Wolfpins. Cringe Mob Wolfpins. Cringe Mob Wolfpins. Cringe Mob Wolfpins.
You know, we get a lot of usage out of that Steamboat Willie. I'm glad it's not it's not owned by Disney anymore. Hey, Jonas, we're gonna get back to this Star Wars issue. By the way, Marvin, welcome aboard. Here's what we're gonna go, panel, and I'm gonna shut up and let you all talk because you all have such spectacular thoughts, and the audience deserves to get to hear those. Moana 2 is a Disney Plus show. That they took the first episode and the last episode, and then they took little bits and pieces that they had to from the middle, and they reconfigured the Moana 2 show into a movie. And despite the fact, I think Moana passed 1 billion today, I'll have to double check that, but despite the fact that it's doing decently well based on the goodwill engendered from the first one, not many people think Moana 2 is just spectacular, right? Lorena, for example, gave it a 2 out of 10. I gave it what'd I give it, Jonas? A 4 out of 10? I think I was nice.
Yeah. Speaking of which, if you are in the single-digit age range, you might be the kind of person who thinks Moana 2 is a good movie.
Yeah.
But if you take out of the equation the fact that they saved themselves on the budget side of Disney Plus by taking it out of there, and if you throw in that it made pretty good money this way, net, I think it's a gain to them. Do I think it's a prestigious gain or a greatly creative gain? No, but net, it was probably the right decision. So
Lou, you're exactly right. However, that's a short-term versus long-term calculation. So
sure.
Do I think that the Moana 2 live action now will do as well as it would have if there had been a really strong Moana 2 movie for it to launch pad off of? And the answer to that is no. I think the franchise is diminished now. Now, here's what I want to make the comparison to. Moana 2 is a very small scope film in comparison to the first. When we heard about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and that it was season 4 retrofitted into a theatrical release, we at least thought this was going to be part of a Thrawn trilogy. Now, of course, we're finding out that no, it's the journey to save Stinky. And that seems to me, based on season 3 of The Mandalorian, well, that's 100%. I mean, I'm surprised Lizzo isn't playing Stinky this time, and she might be.
Well,
so
she's already the weird princess from the 3rd season of The Mandalorian.
Well, it's they're easily confused. Anyway, I don't want to be mean to Lizzo. The scope and scale of this seems appropriate for season 4, having been very, very small and more in line with season 3 than the first 2. So, my Moana 2 question is, do you all think that perhaps we're going to get a greatly diminished Mandalorian movie in that same vein? And do you think that it's good for Star Wars to get a movie out? Or do you think having a small scale film actually hurts them? Which way does this go, do you think?
I think as far as Moana, it remains to be seen, because do we know much about the plot or what's going on in that movie? But as far as Star Wars, it's definitely a step down. There's no doubt.
You will have gone at that point, 7 years between releases? It's the first Star Wars movie in a very long time. People are going to be expecting something big from it. And if it is basically just Mando season 4 condensed down to a 2-hour movie, I think it's going to be a huge embarrassment to them.
I think because you can't ignore that it's been 7 years since the last release. The last release was an epic failure beyond all measures. You can't ignore that TV has also failed. There hasn't been a show that was universally praised. I think Ahsoka is the closest thing you got to it, and the praise was middling at best. Andor, sure, but it wasn't a rousing success. And then before this movie comes out, you still have to deal with the backlash and now apathy that came from the Acolyte. And although Skeleton Crew was adorable, it did nothing for the brand. It's gone ignored. So if you're not coming out big and bold, and by big and bold, I mean you have to promise me that I'm going to see Luke Skywalker kicking butt. I'm going to get Han, I'm going to get Chewie, and I may get a cameo from Leia. And at this point, I would tell you, if you don't have Boba Fett in this movie, I don't know what you're doing, because people want to see Boba Fett be redeemed.
So I want to jump off of that for a second, because somebody in the comments made an interesting comment a while back asking if Boba Fett is the new daimyo of Mos Eisley and the surrounding region, why does Rotta matter? And shouldn't he have inherited the crime empire from Jabba the Hutt?
That's a good point.
Maybe that's the angle. Maybe what this is that somebody is trying to now go against Boba Fett by bringing Rotta out and saying this is the actual true heir to the crime empire, and that's what gets a hit put on him by the Hutts or somebody else. And that means that Boba Fett now does have to get involved, and maybe we get to badass Boba. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. But that's one way maybe you could make this into something interesting. I think that Rotta should not be a baby anymore. You should have a full-blown adult Hutt scheming and trying to retake control of Tatooine. Then maybe you get some kind of movement.
Well,
this is all part of the show where you're reminded that Lorne should be in charge of Lucasfilm, but isn't.
You know who I think it
Morrison
should be?
has been. Sorry, Joe. Tamora Morrison has been very vocal about the fact that he has not been contacted. He could be lying. He could be pulling an Andrew Garfield, but I mean, he has been very, very vocal about the fact that he has nothing to do with anything Star Wars. Jonas, I'm sorry.
I'm going to change my comment based off what you said. His language was super specific, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to the effect of, I'm not playing that particular character or something like that. It was something that I think he left the door open on purpose. Now, there is a Hutt that Dave Filoni probably created, because he is from the Clone Wars that I think we're all forgetting about, and that is the
Look at Lord before you do it. Look at Lord.
Are we talking about Dardola?
We don't talk about Truman Capote Hutt. Ah!
Didn't he die?
What about the Zero the Hutt?
Didn't he die? He died. in
Who
Clone Wars.
cares?
He died. Yes, he
Did he?
died.
Okay.
No
But
one's
you
ever-
reminded me of him.
They live on in your heart, Lauren.
I was
Herod
thinking
the
Pizza
Hutt.
Hut.
King
That's how out of this I am, I tell you.
Or in the case of
King
product,
Herod
they
the
live on
Hutt.
in your heart.
My! I just wanted to throw that out there just to disgust all the people who were aware
There
of it.
is a hut in Tatooine. It's known as the Rising Figgy. Anyway, I don't know.
I love the fact that we're going to revive Star Wars, maybe. Like, not with Luke, not with Chewie, heck, not even with Rey, with a character whose name is literally a reference to the fact that they stink. Rotta. Rotta. Oh.
You have to say it with a Hugh Grant accent, I think. He's just a rotta.
Rotta.
He's a dirty, stinky rotta.
Well, Jonas, we'll be Rottas if we don't get those super chats up on the screen. Let's do it. And then we've got more news because Marvel, this is breaking today. Marvel's done got themselves sued big time. We'll talk about it.
Anna Dekid for $5. Congratulations on 150K. Thank you very much. Irate Specialist for $199. Congrats on 150K. Y'all created something special.
Irate, don't sell yourself short. You have been a part of it all along. Thanks for being here on the ride with us.
And I like this super sticker right here from Go and Shogi for $4.99. It's a hippo clapping and it says GG.
Wait a minute.
I do believe
we have a clapping hippo sticker. I've never seen this before.
Yeah, go look in the chat. Right there. It's a clapping hippo
idea.
saying GG, which means good game, by the way. Glenn Ritchie became a YouTube member at the potential level. Welcome aboard.
Welcome
Coffee's in the break room. Staccato DDS with $20 super chat saying, congrats, pro. See, you could do 250 characters if you do a $20 super chat, but he's just here, short, sweet, well aimed,
doing what he does best. And folks, watch him take out the crime, the grit, the grime from enamel. Also, I know that we made it, but it creeps me out every time that the evil tooth has teeth.
I was literally just going to say that. That tooth has teeth.
It's the nightmare of every dentist out there. A tooth
For
with
some
teeth.
reason, that hit me the same time it hit you.
As a back Sabretooth Raptor for 10, here is an idea for a live-action KOTOR movie, an accurate beat-for-beat live-action version of KOTOR. Keanu Reeves as Revan, Wesley Snipes as Jolie Bindu, Sydney Sweeney as Mission Vio, and Pratt. Karth.
Chris Pratt.
Oh.
All right, I've got a new theory on what we have to do here. Clearly, our efforts to help Lucasfilm have fallen on deaf ears. So from here on out, we don't give them any more good ideas. We're going to espouse terrible, awful, horrible ideas in the hopes that they will hear that and do the opposite, thinking that it will infuriate us. Folks, don't share this with them. But
okay,
yes,
Owen
Tom?
Lars with a moisture evaporator trade dispute on Tatooine, and for some reason, Weequay shows up. And there's your
Only
cameo.
the musical and Cynthia Erivo can be in it.
And
you beat me to it.
And it turns out in the end that the other moisture farmer was Max Rebo. Packing Protons for 5. For God's sakes, Disney, just decanon the sequel trilogy. It's the only way to save your friends or your purchase.
Jonas, your prior script idea got the bewitched nose wiggle from Lauren. I think he just wiggled it out of existence.
That's fine with me. It was an intentionally horrible idea.
We love it, Disney. Totally.
The next one would be whatever that CGI monstrosity that George Lucas added into Return of the Jedi. That's like the blues singer, not the one with the little snoot. but the one that's like big that one.
It's a yism. Come on. Yisms are cool.
Yism?
Yisms are not cool. Yisms are the reason that people make fun of the special edition.
Wait, if Leia hooked up with this character, would it be a Leia organism? I intentionally mispronounced that, but I leave it to your imagination.
An organism. Yes, he mispronounced organism. Sutton Creek Productions for $5 Canadian. As long as all roads lead to Ray Palpatine, I couldn't care. No, I don't think they have any flying ducks in Star Wars.
You mean the discounted Ray Palpatine?
Actually, they do.
Are you calling a Maynor a duck?
No, in the novelization of Star Wars A New Hope, ghost-written by Ellen Dean Foster, Obi-Wan talks to Luke about a duck taking to water, and Luke says, "What's a duck?"
You know,
why a duck? It's the old Marx Brothers routine, right?
That's actually a true story. If it is in the novelization, I'm not making that up.
No, I believe you. I believe you.
Should have been a movie.
Well, because we have names like Obi-Wan, we have places like Tatooine, and then we have a guy named it's Luke
and Ben.
Yeah, Siani Reese, member for 4. Star Wars is dead to me until Kathleen Kennedy leaves. I think it's dead to everyone until Kathleen Kennedy leaves.
Yeah, but when she leaves, she'll leave people behind who are just as awful, won't she? They won't clear house.
I think she's gone.
I agree.
I don't think she's there. I think she has the title. I don't think she's doing anything of substance on a daily basis.
Lunch.
Yeah, that.
Yep.
She does big lunches.
JPS for $5. Congratularian. Oh, wait. Congratulations. You prove the justice of our culture. Now go and rest, our heroes.
I'd like to say right here that if I ever become president, Ron Coleman will be the justice of our culture. Chief Justice of our culture.
I sent Ron Coleman a legal question today about something that was sent to to Kevin Feige and Bob Iger, and he says, "I have no idea on this one."
Also, that'll be $500.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Pro. He told me it's on your bill. JRG Projects for 10. Star Wars is done when the producers start to voice their own characters. It's over. Having rewatched the Batman recently, I'm even more excited for part 2 in 2026. Emo alt Batman is greater than Diet Star Wars. Ooh.
But the question is, are those your only 2 choices?
Did you notice the face that Kevin Apollo just made? I noticed the face that Kevin Apollo just made.
I was reading. I
didn't notice the face, but I felt the force darken around him because I know his feelings on that Batman movie. By the way, that Batman movie got pushed back to 2027 JRG projects, so you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for that.
Yep.
How the Superman movie plays is gonna, I think, have an effect on that too.
I don't.
They
know.
are they. I won't go too far, but they are 100%, I think, canceling Brave and the Bold, and they're going to try to move Robert Pattinson Batman into the DCU. That's why neither of those movies have scripts yet, because they don't know what they're doing yet.
I think they're getting the right nervous about Superman.
Not the real. I have an alternate theory. I feel like, because The Flash was a debacle, and Andy Muschietti is apparently consuming barrels of copium and needing to espouse his feelings and his inner soul. I feel like this movie's being delayed so that he can find something else to do and he can bow out gracefully, because I don't think there's any chance that they're letting him touch Batman.
If I may speak in Andy Muschietti's defense for a minute, he was horrifically misquoted by Variety, which we did talk about on That Park Place.
Yes. Yes, he did.
He blamed Ezra Miller. He didn't blame the fans. Variety blamed the fans.
Sounds like Variety.
He appears to be box office poison on the big budget level.
Yeah.
Master of Puppets for $2. Han, Luke, and Leia will be in the end credits scene.
Eating falafel in New York.
Would love it. The artist formerly known as Dr. John Cusack became a YouTube member at the potential level. Welcome aboard this completely new account, who I've no idea who that might be. Booger stays salty for $5 stretching here. Maybe Thrawn hires Embo to kill Rotta because it will start some sort of conflict. How many people work at Lucasfilm? They make no money. That's a really great question. And also, I do believe that is what Zero the Hutt's plan was in the kidnapping of Rotta. Nope. No confirmation.
If Rotta
there.
is not human, does the term kid apply across species? Is it a hut napping instead of a kidnapping? I don't know.
Apparently, the Hutt mothers carry them around for like 50 years in some kind of sack.
Huts are hermaphroditic.
Yeah.
What did you say? Lauren, was that English? What did you just say?
Huts are hermaphroditic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr.
So why
Sesquipedalian, could you tell us what that means?
Why did Gardula look like a girl hut and Jabba looked like a boy hut?
We don't
that's your prejudice showing.
And also, there were twin huts being carried around on that mass. I loved how much that platform bowed in that one episode of Book of Boba Fett, right before they premiered the rabid Wookiee Black Chrysanthemum in live action for the first time.
Hey, Lauren, how do you sex a hut?
It involves a lot of Vaseline.
That's why I can't go back.
It's a ditty party.
Music.
That's why
I was going to say, if you have to ask,
buffet.
if you have to ask, you can't afford the OBGYN bills. That's all there is to it.
I do not want to pay the OBGYN on a hut. We've got time for one more super chat. We'll come back to the rest. No super chats left behind, but I want to get to the Skeleton Crew stuff. And then we've got more stories on the way, folks, including Marvel I guess we can call it a heap of trouble Marvel is in right now.
Staccato DDS for $10. Lou nailed it. Who cares? And because I'm doing 2 super chats here, for $10 more, Farting Hut will tell Luke, now that's Dustin Crops.
Now, commence Operation Vacuum Suck. Suck.
It looked like this.
All right. Staccato with the win. Okay. All right. Folks, I got full disclosure. It's been a travel day for me. I have not seen Skeleton Crew, the finale. And I would have liked to have seen it. I enjoyed a lot of the show. I know not many people are watching it. I know not everybody likes it. But Lauren, you've seen it. Nolan, have you seen the finale?
Yes.
Okay, we've got some people who've seen it. Kevin, any luck on your side? Okay, we've got 3. By golly, we got a show, folks. We can do this.
I've seen it too.
Jonas,
I haven't.
Nobody. You always have to be part of the crowd, Jonas. You just have to. You know what, Jonas? For that you get to be the one who recaps it for that. Go ahead.
No. I watched it on 2x speed. So I could check the box.
Let me get this straight. You wanted to jump in and say that you watched it, despite the fact that you actually didn't really watch it. You just technically watched it, but that let you be in the Cool Kid Club. Is that what happened?
Is it cool to watch Skeleton Crew? Is that the conclusion that we're starting with right there?
All right. Well, in that case, Kevin, you earned the honors last time. We go back to you again. Sir, please recap what exactly happened in the finale of Skeleton Crew.
First of all, what speed did you watch the show
at? At normal speed. At normal speed.
I'm sorry.
One of those. I'll just feel every moment of it. All right. So picking it from where we left off, is he or is he not a Jedi? Was counting money, and then the parents showed up. The parents were like, "Oh yay, the emissary is here." He swung his lightsaber. The kids decided to listen. The parents asked no questions. He told the kids to go back to their rooms, essentially, and the droids are going to follow you. He took a girl boss in training in to go meet the wizard, and then we cut to Wim and his just painfully beta male father, being as worthless as a human being can, not asking any substantive questions. We jump back to is he or is he not a Jedi, who then proceeds to stab the wizard because the wizard goes, "Oh, the last time I heard, Jedi were traitors." The a bunch of stuff happens. There's some talking. We jump back to Wim because the power goes out everywhere. And then he tells his dad that, hey, I don't know why you haven't figured this out, but that guy was not an emissary. He's a pirate. And then the pirates show up. And then we cut to all the kids watching the pirates show up. And then the pirates decide to start shooting everything. And then everybody's just kind of watching the pirates shoot everything. And then they start running away. And then the kids get speeder bikes. And then just as I was about to go, why aren't they cutting through the woods to avoid the fire? They cut through the woods and avoid the gunfire. Then we cut back to, is he or isn't he a Jedi? With baby girl boss and her mother now scheming on how to rescue everybody. And there is a big 2-levered MacGuffin sitting over in the corner that will magically shut down the barrier. And even though the barrier is artificial and we could probably just turn it back on, is going to be a whole big thing if we turn it off. We have a brief talk about how we went to all these terrible places, but there are always nice people and you have to trust people. I'm sure there's, if you really want to dive deep, a lesson in placing security over freedom as an integral lesson there. But now we need to cut back to dreadful beta male Wim's father, as he is middling and just flopping around and being absolutely worthless as the kids fight the bad guys. We realize that we need to get into space to send the good guys a message. The kids split up. Let's split up, gang. Lady LaForge gets to go take the pretty spaceship into the sky. The elephant loses his speeder bike and gets separated. And then Wim and his worthless father decide that they have to go to where everybody is for the plot to get everybody back together again, to push a sequence of buttons so that we can talk to the Republic before Lady LaForge can get blown out of the sky. Now we're all
long is this episode?
Nothing happens, but everything happens. It's like it's moving 4,000 miles an hour, but you're like, we're not actually really going anywhere, but lots of things are happening. Then Wim shows up, hey, I'm gonna tell a really quick but cute story, and then we get the big reveal that is he or will he not be a Jedi? Was a Padawan who, although they leave it nice and ambiguous, you don't know if he was a pre-Order 66 Padawan or if he was a post-Order 66 Padawan who watched his master die, and he's been floating around the galaxy with a giant chip on his shoulder, trying not to starve. And boy, he really likes money, but he doesn't want anybody to get hurt. But everybody's getting hurt, and he's having a slight little crisis.
Nobody guessed that one last week, Kevin? Oh, look at Mr. Look at Mr. Happy over there. Big smile. He got it right this time. Yep. All right, Kevin, finish this out. How's this episode going?
Right, so, let's see. We get the message. The X-Wing show up. They blow all the ships up over giant swaths of the city for some strange reason where all the civilians are, but we're not going to talk about that. Very Man of Steel-esque. We don't know what happened to Captain Long John Jack Sparrow. He got away. And then it all just kind of ends in a weird sitcom moment where everybody kind of laughs. It's like, hey, we didn't die. The end.
What about the robot with his head cut off? Does he come back?
Oh, he's okay. The Lady LaForge fixed him, and he had a couple of cute lines.
Oh,
he ended up holding his head while still existing.
Oh, he's the Hatbox robot. Hey, Jonas, you watched it at 2x speed. Could you give us a 10x recap of what we just listened to?
Yes. Humperdinck is Mary Buttercup in a little less than half an hour.
All right. Princess Bride, folks. All right, Lorne, you're feeling pretty good about yourself over there because you guessed right on Mr. Sorta Kinda Jedi. But Lorne, based on what Kevin is telling me, this did not end well. Do you have the same thought as what I'm thinking, having heard this, or was it watchable?
Sadly, I'm going to have to disagree with Mr. Apollo.
Folks, we've got a rift, a chasm, even a cataclysm, if you will. Go ahead, Lauren.
I like the show, but I have a different take on it than some people, and I think some of it might be because of some of the comments that I've seen in the chat. I think something may have flown under the radar for people, and that is that it turns out that I was kind of right. You remember last week when I was saying that apparently I was completely wrong about this planet being used to finance Starkiller Base. I was not completely wrong. Did you guys catch who the supervisor's voice was?
Who?
It's Palpatine. That artificial
No.
intelligence that was running the city, the supervisor, the droid intelligence, was Palpatine. They were developing credits in secret to finance Starkiller Base. Now, here's the thing, though. They don't explicitly state this in the show, and they left it ambiguous enough that technically this program could have been going on before the end of the original trilogy. And so it could have been a situation where they were minting these credits to finance the Empire, and when the Empire fell, they didn't know about it because they were behind the barrier and not getting communications, and they just kept doing what they were doing. So in that sense, you can take whichever continuity that you want, but the supervisor was Palpatine. In fact, if you go back and listen to some of those lines that the supervisor speaks, they're taken from the movies. Listen to the voice. That was... And in a way, this kind of ties into a little bit of the old EU, where there was another Imperial superweapon that was developed called the Eye of Palpatine that had an artificial intelligence guiding it. So there's precedent for that in the old EU.
All right. Wait a minute. Time to pick a brain here. All right, Lorne. You said 2 continuities. When you say 2 continuities, are you suggesting that they're trying to play both sides of this so that if you despise the sequel trilogy, that you don't have to despise Skeleton Crew? Or what do you mean by 2 continuities?
Whether that is a deliberate choice or not, I can't tell you. But if that was the intent, I think it probably failed because, like I said, in the chat I'm seeing, and it sounds like you on the panel didn't realize that was Palpatine that was the voice of the supervisor.
And
I thought it was lazy writing because when I heard the line, "We'll be watching you with grave interest," the first thing I thought of was Phantom Menace. And I'm like, wow, of all the lines they could have come up with, they came up with that. So, wow, that is the eye of a hawk right there, sir.
That's exactly why. Listen to all of the lines, and especially when he's probing Jod on, the last message that came out from the Republic was that the Jedi were all traitors. So what are you lying about? Being an emissary or being a Jedi?
That's awesome.
Okay, now wait a minute though, Lorne. In retrospect then, with taking that into consideration, you've seen the finale. You like the show up until the finale. I like the show up until the finale. I haven't seen the finale, but I've heard what Kevin has said, and I don't like that too much. It sounds really boring and sounds like it's not satisfying, but I don't know. You said you disagree with Kevin. I'm waiting for the disagreement. What do you not agree with Kevin about?
I enjoyed it. I had fun. There was only one episode of this show that I didn't like. It was episode 4. Is it going to save Star Wars? No. Can you skip it? Absolutely.
All right,
But
what did you like about the finale then?
I liked the fact that I think this probably irritated Kevin is that they did separate all the kids and the adults. They got everybody so that they were apart. But if this is a show that is supposed to be based on something like the Goonies, then the kids have got to figure out, how are we all going to save the day? And they each have a part to play. Each one of their parts makes sense based on what the setup was in all of the previous episodes. They get to have their heroic moments. They have their bonding moments with the parents. All of that to me says that they had proper setups and payoffs. Now, you could argue it's cheesy. Sure, it is. But movies like this or shows like this are supposed to be. In this case, it is targeting kids. It is a kids' show. I liked the fact that they respected their audience enough to genuinely give them a couple of kind of scares, like that last episode when Jod is actually yelling at the kids. That's something we used to allow in these things, where you're suddenly confronted with, is this guy a good guy or is he a bad guy? They didn't cheat on his character. He is a pirate. He acted like a pirate. He got away at the end. For me, there's nothing here not to like. I enjoyed it.
Did he get the space rum? Did he get the space rum, Kevin?
So let me say, I enjoyed the last episode. I think they did themselves a disservice by breaking it up the way they did between the final 3 episodes. I cannot stand Wim's father. He offends me to my core as a man and as a father. His character, every time he opened his mouth, I would have rather jammed a hot butter knife into my throat than
Kevin,
watch his weakness fill the screen. It was brutal.
Hold on a second. Kevin, you gave us a recap of this show that did not sound pleasant. And then you let Lauren bully you over there. And Lauren can't be a bully. And you switched over and said, "Oh, I like the show. I hate Wynn's father." Look.
To be fair,
get alone.
to be fair, I'm kind of a big scary guy.
That's true. That's true.
It was a lot of chaos. But I hate Wynn's father. I hate him.
To be fair, I think he would probably be scared of you if he ran into you. So
true that. Now,
I will say Wim's father did get a little bit of a moment of actually getting to man up a little bit, which is basically the only thing they could have done for him in this show, because you can't have him all the way to the end being a coward the entire time, which is essentially what he is. He's trying to remind his son, who is more brave than he is, "Oh, you need to do your homework. Are you sure you didn't do your homework?"
This was all just a learning experience for the dad character, because he's used to, Star Wars as a whole these days. He was waiting for a strong, bold, and daring, independent woman to show up to fix the problem for him. It never happened, so he had to man up and actually do something.
They had no way to make it. I'm just going to point out the shorthand here. They don't even have glasses in Star Wars until recently, very recently. And they had to give him the nerdiest glasses possible because they couldn't find a better way to communicate that he's a nerd.
Well, they only have lens crafters on Adden, so it's a real problem. Marvin,
go ahead.
You had something pithy. What did you have?
No, I was just thinking of the one other character with glasses in Star Wars.
Who is one other character with glasses? I don't know.
The Doctor from the most boring episode of The Mandalorian ever created.
Dr. Pershing.
Exactly.
Marvin,
yes.
Your thoughts on Skeleton Crew, the show that nobody watched but that we think is pretty decent but won't save Star Wars?
I hated it. I liked the first couple episodes, and then after that, I just realized this is filled with every last bit of rot that has been infecting Star Wars since The Force Awakens. And the only reason why anyone likes it is because it's less noticeable than it was in The Acolyte. It is when in the second to last episode, when the girl boss in training, as Kevin called her, which I thought was brilliant. When the big lesson that she had to learn was you have to accept that everyone is not as awesome as you are. I was just like, oh my God, this stinks. It just stinks. It's just filled with Kathleen Kennedy rot. I could not stand the last 3 episodes of this show. I think it's garbage. I think the only thing Lucasfilm is capable of spewing out anymore is garbage. And I hate it.
When does it exist in the timeline? Is it
after
before trilogy or after sequel trilogy? What is it?
Long after I stopped caring about Star Wars is when it exists.
I assume we're running concurrent to Mando.
Same time frame as Mando, yes.
Yeah.
So I will point out one thing. Those are and I was talking with Lauren about this. Those are not sequel trilogy ships that come to rescue them. They're definitely original trilogy ships that come to rescue them. So they went heavy on the nostalgia. Bro, you had the picture up there of the kid holding the lightsaber with the girl looking defiant. That actually was a pretty good moment in the show. And he looks up into the sky and he sees a bunch of X-Wings and a Corellian Corvette up in the sky. This has a lot of really good shots and really good moments in it. But outside of that, I don't know that this show is really worthwhile. It's another thing that I think they should have just made it a movie and gotten this over with.
Jonas, I think that moment you're talking about would have been more poignant had it come at a time when imagery like holding a lightsaber and X-Wings actually meant something to anybody. They have eroded this franchise to the point where even these iconic moments mean nothing anymore. Just nothing.
Marvin.
No, it's worse because when you remind people of the glory that was and you don't provide it, you're reminding them of how far things have fallen.
Marvin.
Yes, Lauren.
You're lying. You're lying. If X-Wings didn't mean anything to you, you wouldn't be upset. those images still mean something to you. This didn't touch your particular soul because it's small and blackened and coal-like, but it's you're lying about those images not meaning anything to you. They still do.
You know what? You're right. Though they still do mean something to me. And it's almost like you have a toy that you really like, but then the kid that you really hate takes the toy and you see them playing with it and they're not playing with it the right way. Like they're taking your X-Wing fighter and using it as a teapot at their tea party. And you're just no, that's not what you're supposed to do with it.
I think it's worse than that. I've always thought that it was like the kid who comes over to your place who is the spoiled brat that gets all the toys that he wants from his parents, but you have the one toy that he doesn't have, so he wants to play with it and he deliberately breaks it. That's what it always felt like to me. But in this case, I don't think that's what happened here. I do think there was a bad episode. The 4th episode was bad. Other than that, the show's light, it's breezy, it's not important to the Star Wars continuity, but it's aimed at kids and it's fun. I don't have anything that I can really complain about other than that 4th episode. And miraculously, they got the pirate right.
Hey, Lauren, I don't know what kind of special sauce you're bringing to the panel tonight, but I'm a little weirded out by the fact that you say something and Kevin's like, oh, yeah, well, what I said before, I completely reversed that. I agree with you now, Lauren. And then you say what you say to Marvin. And Marvin immediately goes, oh, yeah, well, exactly right, Lauren. I do love those X-Wings. Everybody watch out.
It would be more obvious
those aren't the droids
if you said, yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Hey,
by the way, I have a question. As somebody who's never seen this but has seen the pictures from it, please tell me that little elephant thing isn't the character from Captain EO.
Either that or he's
I mean,
babies.
Or how about the fact that when they turned on the hologram from the actual pirate captain that they've been following this whole time, he sounded like he should be singing about pineapples under the sea. He sounded like the captain on The Simpsons. We're like, would you be needing more ice tea?
This will keep the crewmates from sodomy for at least 10 minutes.
Hey guys, hang on just a second, Lauren. We're trying to run a professional ship here, and somebody has really messed up. Folks, we don't normally do this. We don't normally come in and break in like this, but we've got a correction to make, and I feel ashamed that this happened. Jonas, buddy, you screwed up.
I did.
Please, what is the correction you must issue lest we get in trouble with the United States government, perhaps the United Nations, and even beyond with the Illuminati?
I was incorrect. In live action, there was actually a pair of glasses in Star Wars in 1985. You guys may not remember the pivotal Star Wars release that happened in 1985, otherwise known as the Ewok movie. Noah Brickalon or Bequalan or whatever, they never say last names in Star Wars, so I don't know why I'm even attempting this. Played by Wilford Brimley, You
can choose to feel sorry for yourself. I hope you don't.
He wore glasses in the Ewok movie.
Because Wilford Brimley needed glasses and he probably couldn't see without them.
Well, yes, but that quote, Marvin, was directed at you.
Space diabetes needs to be taken very seriously.
Boy, I set him up and you guys hit him out of the park with the
There we go, right there.
Let me tell you, Jonas, the fact that we issued our very first correction on the channel and it's about Wilford Brimley, it puts a smile on the face of everybody out there. It's just something is right in this world. Something is right.
You can choose to feel sorry for yourself. I hope you don't.
It's our first legal note.
He's also the face on the oatmeal packages, I'm sure. That's the
I just
same
imagine
guy, right?
Jonas had the exact expression of Sonny Hostin from The View as he's reading the correction.
We got to get a Sonny Hostin clip. Like, we need a Sonny Hostin clip on the ready. I'm going to make that happen. How do we not have that? How do we not have it?
Wilford Brimley played the head of Cure, in Remo Williams, and in all the 150 some odd books, he is described as having a sour, lemony countenance, and boy, does he make that work.
Listen,
He's like the Lorax in living form.
Wilford Brimley is a sparkle of sunshine, and you all just need to recognize it.
Yeah.
Jonas, we've got more sunshine, and it's coming to us from our viewers out there. Bring them up on the screen, and let's get started with some obscenely great comments.
That's right. As of Sabertooth Raptor for $5, Lauren and panel. What are your choices of actors to play characters in KOTOR? A wish list if things were different and people cared. James Spader for all the parts. Next.
I think I see what we're doing here, folks. Remember earlier in the show, this is a callback. Panel?
I liked the idea of Keanu as Revan. However, I would say that he's probably a little too old now. For Revan, I would say any male, because they can make Revan a female technically, because you are able to create your own character in the game, and if given the choice, they will make Revan a female.
I think whenever you're doing fan casting like this, you can cast whatever actor you want at their ideal perfect age, because this is all pie in the sky stuff.
Oh, okay. If we're going like Matrix age, then sure, Keanu would be perfect for him.
All right. Dear Lucasfilm, I don't care who they play. I don't care if you need to gender swap, but here are my selections. And I mean this, Lucasfilm. Please cast these actors in the roles for KOTOR. Jada Pinkett Smith, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Amber Heard. Thank you.
What's wrong with Gwyneth? Anyways, Cyrano 2960 for $2. Genre guys, adieu au mon ami.
Adieu mon ami.
This super chat has a certain Keller A Till about it. Greg C, member for one, using shout out to say hi to Knee Pain. Great guy. He is a great guy.
That's right.
Good use of a super chat. JRG Projects for $10. Somewhere Palpatine growls, Favreau, I don't want this stunted slime in my sight again.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
It wasn't my best. I'll say that.
It's the closest I've ever heard anyone else ever come to doing Ian McDermott's Palpatine voice.
Yeah, actually,
it's the one voice in all of Star Wars that no one has been able to get right except for Ian McDermott.
Marvin gets pretty close.
Marvin, who's one of your impressions that would be the most inappropriate for sounding like Palpatine?
Sounding like Palpatine?
Yeah, who's farthest away from it?
Grace Randolph.
Witness
Grace.
the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station, Betty the Platypus.
Can we get it as Grace as well?
Grace is the one.
Oh no.
You,
And now you're
like your father, are now mine.
That is a terrifying image, especially if you're thinking of that in the context of Henry and Indiana Jones.
Jonas,
what are you prepared to do to stop the rebels?
Great.
Jonas, let's get Grace on the show sometime. It'll go well.
Okay. We'll see.
It'll go well.
You asked me to get Mark Kern on, and eventually I got that to happen.
I asked you to get Gwyneth Paltrow. That didn't happen, but we did get some nice loofahs and organic soap.
I was going to say something about a candlelit dinner, but
organic is a word that covers many sins.
Most
of them by Gwyneth. Hey, she could play Rotor the Stinky One or whatever it was. That would work.
Well, when you brush your teeth with garlic, it'll happen.
Maximum Vantage for $5. Hey, Lauren, Skeleton Crew just gave the New Republic 1,139 vaults full of credits. This infusion of cash just retconned the sequel trilogy.
Actually, as I explained earlier, I don't think it did that, but you could argue that this is Schrodinger's choice here, where you can choose, did it or did it not?
Was it really 1139? I would assume in Star Wars it would be 1138.
That would be the more logical choice.
Yep. SFX Sabertooth Raptor for $5. How about smurfed up Fraggles playing the characters of Star Wars? Darth Alf as Vader, Mexican Iron Man as Luke.
Well, that went over really big.
Well, the smurfed up Fraggles had me thinking this was going to an Inside Out 2 reference, because that's what we called the anxiety character, the cracked out Fraggles.
Right. Right.
This could happen. Mike as Luke would be fantastic, right? And he would he would be more appropriate for Tatooine. Luke is a little pale for Tatooine, I've always thought.
Yeah, but if Alf is Vader, he's not going to stop and say, I am a Jedi like my father before me. He's going to keep swinging.
That kills me.
You're the one who's out of this world, sweet baby.
And you can have that.
I was fishing for that clip. I was fishing for it.
I knew you were. I knew.
All right. Regina Sharp for $5. Jonas technically watched it, so he was technically correct. I technically like the super chat. Correct, which, as everyone knows, is the bestest ever kind of correct. That's right. I bypassed the oppressor.
I just like that Jonas is, he's like the student in class who read one page of the book they were supposed to read, but technically he read the book.
No,
and then when the teacher's like, "All right, who read it?" He stands up and says, "I read it. It's like, maybe you should have laid low there, Jonas. Maybe
it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
SFX Sabertooth Raptor for $2. Is there a way to watch something on 200x speed? Yes, but this is a power that only the Sith know.
The book is about a man. His name is, they call him Ishmael.
Jonas had a LeBron James moment right there. I'll tell you. All right, Jonas, give us the recap. Well, I watched it at 12x speed, actually, in French, and I don't speak French.
How about that you called us all here to watch a show that you didn't even watch yourself, pal?
How about we all agreed that by the final episode we were done, and it was just like, don't tell Lord, we're not going to watch it.
And yet here we are. Aaron Sleeper for $4.99, and this is a two-parter, so it's actually a $10 super chat. The problem with Star Wars is a timing issue. Go back to the prequels. There's just not enough time between things. The Jedi are this mystical group, TBC, to be continued, but they were everywhere. Less than 20 years old at Aten is this mystical pirate treasure world, but can't be more than 60 to 70 years old. Not enough for legends to be born. That's a really good point.
Except I'm going to push back on that.
Hold on. Let Kevin have a chance, Lauren. Let some of us have just a bite at the apple, man. Come on. Back it off there, Bulldog. Go ahead, Kevin.
A real world example, right?
Kevin, I'm going to protect your answer here. It's all you, buddy. Go ahead.
I'm going to use a real world example. So, us people who had the privilege of growing up during the 70s and 80s, we had Ronald Reagan. Now, if you fast forward to now, when we talk about the Gipper, it's with esteem and reverence.
However, there you go again.
However, Zennials and younger millennials, to them, it's just a name. Nothing happened before they were born. And as you get further away from the era of the Gipper, he becomes more of a myth. When you're looking at how Star Wars is played out, a lot can happen in 20 to 25 years. A lot of history gets jam-packed in. And let's say you're on one of these outer planets, and if you've never seen a Jedi before, they're all gone, and they were this thing at one point in time, and just the weight doesn't ring the same unless you were around someone who had actually experienced a Jedi. So I don't the passage of time in the real world kind of helps out here, because when you think about it, really from episode 1, from the end of episode 3 to today, kind of the timeline played out in real time for us. So it's Samuel L. Jackson still looks the same.
So I told Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that patriarchy. All right, Lauren.
Well, go ahead, Lauren.
There's another couple issues here too, and that is that I think people forget we see the Jedi because we're the audience for the films. But by the time of the prequels, there were only 10,000 Jedi in existence, and the Republic was filled with billions of worlds.
And 9,950 of them were all Dave Filoni's creations and survived. Keep going.
Also, between the time of Order 66 and when you're talking about when the Jedi really became legends, it wasn't 20 years, it was 50 years. So you've got that as well. So I think that has a lot to do with why the Jedi were largely forgotten by the time of what they call the sequel trilogy.
I'm gonna push back on that here. I think that Lucas always intended originally for the Jedi to be this long forgotten thing when he wrote Star Wars, but when in the practical standpoint of it all, you have Luke and Leia born right at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and that gives them a 20-year gap between the destruction of the Jedi and the takeover from Palpatine to the beginning of the destruction of the Empire. So I don't know, to me, that'd be like 2003 to today and being like those legendary Transformers films that never really existed.
May I offer a real Earth historical fact as presented by one Harry Lime? Don't be so gloomy. After all, it's not that awful. Like the fella says, in Italy for 30 years under the Borgias, they had warfare, terror, murder, and bloodshed. But they produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and the Renaissance. In Switzerland, they had brotherly love. They had 500 years of democracy and peace. And what did that produce? The cuckoo clock. So long, Holly. The third man.
Lauren, I'm sure I said something disagreeable there. Go ahead.
No, just that I don't think by the time of the original trilogy that people had forgotten the Jedi. It's just that knowledge of them was being suppressed and talk of them was forbidden. It's that when you go beyond that and see that Luke did not refound the Jedi Order and that he went away like a sad sack, that at that point a generation had passed without any Jedi and it had been suppressed before that. You got a 50-year continuity where nobody's even seen or heard of one. At that point, it starts to sound a lot more like Bigfoot, especially when you consider that in the prequels, there were only 10,000. Most worlds would never see a Jedi ever. They were not from their peaks in the Old Republic. They had dwindled over the many, many thousands of years.
Enough that Admiral Mahdi is willing to openly mock some dude's religion in a conference room.
Yep. But don't worry, folks. We'll go back to all those Jedi because Knights of the Old Republic, well, we're going to go there real soon. All right, last one, Jonas, and then we've got to hit the next news story before we lose a few of our panelists. Go ahead, sir.
Doge for $2. Can't help but feel sorry for you. Dark Pit.
There you go.
Love that.
That's a Palutina's reference. Palutina's mirror reference right there, isn't it?
Talk about feeling sorry. Take a look at this, folks. It's out of That Park Place. And folks, if you're not yet bookmarked, well, you should be. Get over there and do so as soon as you possibly can. This is by Marvin Montanero. It says, Captain America Brave New World box office projections show similar opening to Winter Soldier. And that's a very bad thing. Here's what it says. Projections from Sean Robbins at Box Office Theory estimate the film, that is Captain America Brave New World, will earn between $81 million and $107 million domestically in its first weekend with a likely figure of $96 million. While certain media outlets are painting this number as a win, good Lord, who are those? A closer comparison to past Marvel successes, Screen Rant, reveals a very different story, one that suggests the MCU is in a significant decline. Here's what we've got. It says, we saw this with Sam Wilson inheriting the mantle of Captain America, Kate Bishop taking over Hawkeye, Riri as Iron Heart, etc.
Looks like there's a formatting issue on the page there, Pro, because it looks like a lot of the thing got for some reason it
pulled into the caption there, eh?
That is weird.
Yeah, it'll happen. All right. Robbins also predicted the film will top out domestically somewhere between $195 million to $80 million for its whole run. Good. Holy cow, that's terrible.
Yeah.
This is a film it's got about $1 billion break even, we would say. And just to give you an idea, we've seen something like a 25 to 50% increase in ticket costs from some of these older Marvel films, especially the farther you go back, 2014, 2012, 2011, those kind of years. So to compare it, for example, to Captain America, the Winter Soldier that opened with $95 million, today that would be at minimum $125 million just at, well, you've got it here, adjusted for inflation. These figures climbed to $126.6 million. And that's not even considering that the box office ticket prices have outstripped historic inflation. So actually, it would be even more. So if this comes in, and by the way, I would not be surprised if it comes in the 70s. I'm not telling you it's going to come in the 70s, but it could. This is a film that they need $1 billion to break even. And again, if we go back up to that top number, I mean, they're predicting this could come in, well below half of that. So I think this could be one of the biggest flops Disney's faced, and this is going to be back to back with Snow White. I mean, we're talking about we're going to go to Captain America: Brave New World, and then we're going to go to Snow White. These numbers could get insane in terms of the losses that Disney is facing, and it doesn't get better for Marvel. You have this, then you have the Fantastic Four with the Silver Surfette, and you have Thunderdolts. That's 2025. Panel, I'm thinking this gets real ugly for the MCU real fast. We'll go to Lauren first because I know, Lauren, you're short on time. Lauren, is there any way you think that we see a success with this new Captain America movie that many would say doesn't feature Captain America?
No, I don't think so. Between all of the reshoots that they've had to do and the advance word on the test screenings, I think it's dead on arrival.
Panel, anyone? Does anyone?
When we're comparing box office to precursors, we also have to remember there are at least twice as many large screen format, therefore higher price theaters now than there were back then. And so that eats into it enormously too.
So what I discovered when I was writing this article, people are thinking that this could be a success because you look at past Captain America movies and somebody was like, well, I mean, that's about what, Winter Soldier did. And that was a success. I said, yes, Winter Soldier had a $150 million budget. And it was also 11 years ago. When adjusted for inflation, that's not okay for a movie that's $350 million in the hole for.
So let's talk for a moment about what this really could be, okay? So we'll go to Collider for just a minute to give you some comparison. 10 worst or 10 lowest grossing Marvel films. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is at $476 million worldwide. That's at number 10 spot. Black Widow, $379. The Marvels at $206. Ant-Man, the original, at $519. They don't have these ordered in the numerical, which I think, well, that's just nutty. So screw that. We'll go to the Marvels and Quantumania. Those are the worst. So Marvels at 206. I think it's going to outperform the Marvels. I mean, I just can't even imagine.
It's got Harrison Ford in it. It's definitely got to outperform the Marvels.
But I'm telling you, I think this could be, we could be looking at Quantumania levels of bad. So this might come in 400 to 450. Like, I can see that happening. And again, they need $1 billion to break even because they may still be reshooting this. This doesn't have an MPAA rating yet, likely because they haven't had it. They don't have it finalized yet for the reviewers. Pregnant.
I'm looking over there on the right, and it says 10 Jason Statham movies that get better with each rewatch. Is there a Marvel movie in the last 10 years that gets better with rewatching?
Maybe No Way Home. Maybe.
Okay.
So here's, I mean, look, everybody involved in this thing knows that it's a piece of crap. Seth Rollins from the WWE was completely cut out of this movie, and he said to his fans, he's like, look, don't waste your time. You know, he was like, if you're looking to go, he's like, I'm completely cut out of it. If you're thinking about going just because you want to see me in it, do not waste your time with this. So
that's brutal.
Yeah.
By the way, another thing that's brutal, we got to lose Lauren. Lauren's got to go. Lauren, tell the folks out there what's coming up on your channel real soon before you go.
Recently, I have been reading some of the 90s Indiana Jones novels. The first novel in that series is called Indiana Jones and the Peril at Delphi. Started that, I think, maybe a little over a week ago. We're up to about chapter 7 coming up, I think. So if you're an Indiana Jones fan, check it out.
Sounds good, Lauren. And thank you for being here. We gave you a little bit of a harder time than usual. It's good-natured ribbing, folks. Lauren is a fan favorite. We know it. We're never too rough with Lauren because if we do, the whole channel falls apart.
And Lauren is part of the Genre Guys, which you said was getting a double dose this week. So you're going to be seeing him there too.
Lots of Lauren, and that's a good thing.
Yep. Take care, everybody. I'll see you all real soon.
Later.
Bye, Lauren.
Bye, Lauren.
All right, Nolan, I'll go to you then. What do you think? Is this going to cross the $500 million mark? Or are we talking about a film that is going to be down there, 300, 400 million gross?
You're talking domestic or worldwide?
Worldwide.
I don't think it's gonna hit the half a billion mark. I really don't. Whatever they're managing to make right now with Mufasa, because I think that one just crossed the $500 million mark, if I'm not wrong here. They're gonna immediately lose with this movie. I think if there's a positive I can bring from this, is that I know that Assassin's Creed Shadows got delayed from its Valentine's Day release date, so you're gonna get a whole 2 other people who are gonna go to the movie instead. But no, I mean, there's no hype for the movie. This honestly is very reminiscent to me of all the apathy that was surrounded the Marvels. If anything, I could actually see it do worse. And I know that might seem like blasphemy because we have Harrison Ford and all that, but at least with the Marvels, I feel like there was still some goodwill that, okay, they might be able to turn us around. We already know RDJ is coming back at this point. And this film is basically a lame duck until we can get to whatever new strategy they're trying to do with, Secret Wars and all that. It's a carryover from a regime that just didn't know what they were doing. And you can edit this film like as many times as people have recut The Phantom Menace. I don't think you're going to save this to where it's going to connect to all the masses. And just to be real here, most of the masses who aren't following Marvel super closely, and there are a good size amount of people that do follow Marvel closely. I think it'd be ridiculous to think not, with how many movies they've had and how much they've dominated the box office. But I think people are going to look at it and be like, that's not Captain America, and just dip out. I think it's going to encounter the same problems that the Marvels faced.
So, I think one thing we also have to keep in mind is there's no way that a movie called Captain America starring a black guy is going to have a Chinese release.
Well, it will, but you ought to see the poster. By the way, to get in the weeds just a little bit, there's a signal coming from the industry that they're not confident even in this number. So let me toss this to Kevin and to Jonas and see what you two think about this. Typically, what we see, especially for Disney releases, is that as we get closer, the trades will put out a range for the film and what it's going to make, and they'll put a plus at the end of that. And so typically what you'll see is, for example, Moana 2 will make 70 to 100 million plus. And they really, because remember the trades, they have a vested interest in these films doing well. So if there's any way in the world they can get it up to a triple digit, they'll do it. So what we're looking at here is they couldn't give us, it's not plausible to them that it's going to hit triple digits. And also it doesn't have a plus sign on it, which means that they don't think there's an upper go beyond range. Like they think 95 is the ceiling. And I would suggest this is pretty narrow at this point to have it. The gap here is only 9 million. Usually we've got like a $20 million gap. So this is why I'm saying that I would not be surprised if this is down in the 70s. We'll go ahead and get Kevin your thoughts and Jonas, but I do want to welcome to the stage as quickly as we can because he is quite the friend of the channel. Folks, Tom Connors is with us today. Tom, how are you?
Hello.
Hi. He comes with his own intro music. All right, Kevin, Jonas, talk to me about this this number range they have here. It's very interesting if you follow the industry and know how this game is usually played.
I guess, my grandfather used to say you can't polish a turd. And I guess that's kind of what this is telling us.
At least you don't want to, Kevin.
Yeah, at least you don't want to. But listen, we look at the trades and what the trades do. They give everybody their talking points and tell you how you need to think about whatever you're going to think about. The fact that it's this low, I think that it's very telling. No one's expecting this movie to make any money. Listen, this has been a fiscal nightmare from day one. From we're reshoot number 58. They refused to read the room. Minorities are not interested in shopping at the superhero IP thrift shop. So no one's into Captain Afro America. There's just people like Sam Wilson the way he was. This movie has been DOA since the last episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Kevin, since you mentioned Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I actually wanted to ask you, what were your thoughts when Wakanda had to show up and give him a suit?
Oh, for the love of God! That just listen. I'll even go back to the third episode where, you know, if anybody who knows anything about Baltimore, the one, you know, Sam Wilson is an Avenger. He's one of the surviving Avengers. He was Captain America's sidekick. He can't get a loan for whatever reason, even though he is doing what work for the government, which means he's being paid very well. / he's friends with Tony Stark. The police officers stop him in a street and are harassing him in Baltimore, when in reality they would have bugged Bucky because they're going to assume he's there buying drugs. It's the brutal virtue signal after brutal virtue signal after brutal virtue signal that just makes everybody wince. And then we now have to sit through a movie where fine, it's got Harrison Ford in it. Cool. We all know Harrison Ford will do anything if you give him enough money, and he doesn't have to do anything other than be surly. So this is just.
Who told you that? That's a lie. I'll do anything for weed.
This is a dud's dud. So it just kind of is what it is. They are so terrified that, well, I'll put it like this. They're not being honest about the 70, right? Because it's wishful thinking at this point. To me, I'm actually shocked they didn't say that it was going to come in at the high 60s so that when it came in the 70s, they could celebrate a win. But I think they kind of know, everybody here knows this movie isn't going to make money. It's going to do better than the Marvels, but that is as bright and shiny a silver lining as you're going to get from this.
Yeah. So the reason I asked you that question is because I've been thinking about this, and we've got this rumor going around that they're finally recasting T'Challa. That's the rumor, and who knows if it's true. It didn't come from us. We can't verify the sources on it. But after the Wakanda involvement in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and looking at Captain America 4, I'm wondering if they didn't feel like Anthony Mackie, and this is going to sound weird. I wonder if they were worried that he wasn't black enough. So they were like, okay, we need to make his blackness a central theme of this character. Like, he can't just be the action hero who shows up. He has to be, oh no, we have to make sure that his lived experience shows up on screen here. And I actually think that might be why people might be off put by this film right now, because you've taken a white character who is the whitest of the white, Captain America, blonde, blue-eyed guy, and then you replace him with his black sidekick, and then you take that black sidekick and have him do an 8-minute monologue that is generic, do better for 8 full minutes lecturing America. When Captain America gives a speech, he gives a rousing speech about how we can aspire to be great things. And they give this guy, out of the bat, they give Anthony Mackie, a charming actor, 8 minutes of, do you know what it's like to be a black man in America?
In Baltimore?
Seriously, guys.
You know,
not only do they replace Captain America, but first they replace him with the archetype of what Captain America is, with another white blonde male who is a decorated U.S. soldier who has done nothing wrong but accept a job that he was offered, and we're meant to demonize and villainize him and use him as someone to throw tomatoes at for the entirety of the series. It's
and listen, don't forget too, it's no son. When we first meet Sam, he's helping other soldiers cope with their trauma and reacclimate into the world, and so you would think that should have been a major plot point in Falcon and Winter Soldier, where he helps U.S. agent kind of find his center instead of just dressing him down and treating him like he's less than the entire time. It's like Jonas said, Anthony Mackie is a very charming actor in whatever he's in, right? But you turn around and it's just so disingenuous And I don't, and you can point to, you could find me the most wacky, septum nose having blacktivists on the planet. If you sit them down and you put them in a room, privately, they're going to tell you this thinks it's silly, no one buys it. And that's why this is struggling so hard. Instead of just letting, if you were going to force him into the costume, you had no business making this a black-white thing when people are tired of this. You should have just let Sam Wilson stand on his own in the costume and remove the color from it. The color in this is what's killing it. And I feel bad for Anthony Mackie because this is something that will derail his career. This is going to be a failure he's not going to recover from.
I was going to say, I have no idea how much he's getting paid. And with all these reshoots and everything, it's got to be phenomenally lucrative for him. And it will leave him high and dry. He will have to take a year or two off and then come back in a rom-com or something totally divorced from superhero world. And I can't wait, if I live long enough, 15 years, 20 years from now, when he writes his memoir and tells the real backstage story of the shoots and the reshoots and the everything else of this movie, because it's got to be one hell of a tale. Because they basically say to him, "Look, you're stuck. We're going to pay you, but you got to be here. There isn't anybody else we can let other people go, but not you, man." Secondly, when you see these numbers, you got to remember who reads Variety. It's not just people in quote unquote the biz. It's exhibitors. Exhibitors have a problem. When we hear about the split between the studios and the theaters, remember, please, that the studio gets the lion's share for the first few weeks, and then it starts shifting the other way. But if the movie doesn't make it any more than those first few weeks, they're screwed. And I'll give you an example of what's going on. I don't know if you saw this today. Alamo, this wonderful come in, eat, drink, everything theater chain in Texas, is laying people off left and right. And if they are, you better believe all the big chains are about to start doing it too, because between a lack of supply, look at the pictures that are nominated for awards and tell me if any of them could fill a 400-seat house in a multiplex on a Saturday night. Not one. Not one. Everything that we were talking about for the last year or two is going to come home to roost big time this year. And so hang on, gang. It gets worse before it gets better.
Hey, Tom, talking about this, am I making too much out of the fact that they don't have the 95 million plus? There's no triple digit. Like, do you think that that's just being persnickety on my part? Or do you think that maybe this is really the ceiling and they don't think that it has any way of making triple digits? Maybe that bottom could fall out.
Oh, no, this is accurate. Not only is this accurate, people are running with this as the domestic. I think this is the worldwide.
Oh,
because everybody forgets how low the last two Marvel movies that weren't Deadpool and Wolverine have opened up to. And the company that they're using to go off this stuff by, that's basically that their claim to fame is that they were one of the few outlets that predicted that Deadpool and Wolverine was going to do great.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
A 5-year-old could have predicted that.
Hold on. if you are accurate, and if that is the worldwide opening,
because nobody is saying domestic or worldwide in any of this. If you read through it, they're just saying 86 million to 95 million. At no point do they say either or the other. And if you ever look into this any other time, they normally say, X amount for the domestic and then da for worldwide.
Is it opening everywhere the same day?
That's
it's
all
Disney.
Marvel
Chances
does
are,
anymore.
yes.
Yeah,
2.5x. 2.5x is what we would expect this to do, maybe less. We would be in Marvel's territory. So if that's true, Tom, you're suggesting this would get 200 to 300 million for
the Marvels opened up to $45 million, and Brie Larson is a bigger star than him. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. Who's won an Oscar and who hasn't?
Oh my God!
Well said.
And I do got to push back a little bit. I think Anthony Mackie's fine, though. I think most of these actors, they're going to weather this stuff because the comic book movie thing is going to be dead the next 2 to 3 years anyway. Unless Superman knocks the socks off of everybody and Fantastic Four is the greatest Marvel film since Infinity War or even Spider-Man No Way Home, they're screwed. There is no coming back from this. This superhero craze is over. And let me tell you something. There are producers that are celebrating in Hollywood. They are they are so happy, but then the dust is going to settle, especially after all the smoke settles, right? And then they're going to realize, what do we have? We don't have anything to rely on anymore, because that's the problem they've presented themselves with now, is they have killed the movie star. So that's why I think Anthony Mackie's going to be fine. They have killed the movie star, so they can't blame the movie stars for any of this crap, unfortunately, for better or worse, at the end of the day. But what they will now find themselves in this position of is, what do we do now? Because we don't have the superhero movies to lean on. We don't have the IP-driven stuff to lean on as much as we used to. Because believe you me, once the comic book movie thing falls, Star Wars type sci-fi stuff is next, and everybody thinks that video games are the next thing. Let me tell you something. Unless it's a Mario Brothers or a Sonic, it's not going to work. They've been trying to do it for 25 years in Hollywood. It doesn't work.
Tell us how you really feel, Tom.
Can I add on what Tom was saying? Because I think he's 100% correct. The comic book movie thing is dead. And what I find hysterical is, He-Man. They're not taking He-Man seriously. And if they did He-Man right, it probably would have given them a little bit of reprieve, because you could have revitalized the sword and sandal genre, and they're going to putz this up too. And now they're actually out of, they have stripped the diamond mine bare, and there's nothing left for them to screw up now. What are they going to do? Go back to making movies out of a 1960s sitcoms, because that worked out so well the first time?
Anime.
Actually, that did work out pretty well in the 90s, but yeah, it fell off pretty quick, unless you were the Flintstones or Addams Family.
They're going to go find anime stories that people are into, and they're going to westernize them and destroy those. That's what's up next. Either
Don't
that, or
say that out loud, Pro.
Oh, and how well do you think that's going to work, right? Like, here's the beauty of this, is we have a petri dish now unlike we've ever had before, and it's called Netflix. See, because we've seen, and this is why people are like, well, what do you mean video? No, because there's only been a few things that have ever been able to be translated when it comes to video games, and I think Kevin's right. They had a chance with Sword and Sandal, but doing that was to be able to launch off of comic books, and they failed. They did not take the time. And everybody, when they try desperately to get something Conan off the ground, and every time they do it, Netflix or Amazon would just get in the way of it. So, like, at this point, by the time they finally do get to it, I don't know if anybody will care.
You mean the geniuses at Amazon who told Barbara Broccoli that James Bond isn't a hero? Those geniuses? Yeah. By the way, did you see where the Japanese are doing an anime version of House, with Dr. House being a skinny Japanese girl? That'll work.
Which is already stupid, because guess what? House is already Sherlock.
Right.
Well,
right.
There you go. Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding. So you're getting like carbon copies of stuff.
Except
so it's like, yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch is hard to say with a Japanese accent. So try it.
Actually, you know what? It reminds me of music now, because you know how everything is a sample of a sample of a sample?
Yeah.
It's gotten to a point where I wonder if these kids that are making this music now even know what songs they're sampling anymore, because they've been so far removed from the original song. Because I'm literally hearing songs that are, okay, Mariah Carey sampled the Tom Tom Club, right? So I'm hearing somebody who sampled Mariah Carey back in the 90s sampling them now. So you're like 3 removed from the original song. And that's kind of where we're at with entertainment.
And meanwhile, in this world of all these crazy reshoots and budget overruns, I happen to be reading a pretty wonderful book that is a biography of Otto Preminger. And you can love him or hate him, and love him or hate his movies. But in an era where movie budgets were $1.25 million, $1.5 million, maybe $2 million, he came in within, they tell you at the end of each movie, $140 here, $210 there. He was 300 under, he was 200 over, and he was 12 days short on the budget. on the schedule. So it's like, what happened? You can do it, but you got to care.
I just have to go back to something that Tom said. I've looked over that article. Absolutely zero mention of domestic or worldwide. You're totally correct.
Yeah.
And that is a great, if a company like
I think
Disney
Six for pointing that out first. I got to give her credit, by the way.
Yeah. But that's perfect. That is hiding behind lack of detail right there. So
if that is the case, and we'll wrap up this topic, but if that is the case, bar the doors, because, oh my gosh, the sky is falling at Disney. if this movie, if Captain America Brave New Strategy, stole that from you, Tom, if that gets Marvel's level fail, look out. Look out. All right, folks, we've got another topic here. It's the final of the evening, and it is a big one. It has to do with the ugly feud regarding who's getting sued over at Marvel. Now, we have been careful not to touch this very much because we like being right. And this one's a hard one to get necessarily right. It's not as clear cut, and so we've been a little careful about it. But we'll wade into the waters here. This is out of People magazine, which is no longer a magazine, so just People. But it kind of sounds weird to say, well, it's from People. Because, well, which people are you talking about? This People. Justin Baldoni is demanding Disney hold on to documents to support his claims Ryan Reynolds used Nice Pool to bully him. Justin Baldoni's legal team is demanding Disney retain communications about the Deadpool character to use in court. This is by Benjamin Van Hoos and Elizabeth Roster. And here's what it says. Baldoni is seeking to gain communications made about Ryan Reynolds' Nice Pool character in an attempt to show it was used to bully him. As the It Ends With Us director's actions legal battle, responding to co-star Blake Lively's harassment and retaliation claims advances, Baldoni's lawyers sent a litigation hold letter on January 7th to Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige and the Hippo Man himself, Disney CEO Bob Iger, demanding they hold on to documents that mention Baldoni for potential use in court. According to the letter viewed by People, they want any and all documents relating to the development of the Nice Pool character and communications relating to the development, writing, and filming of storylines and scenes featuring Nice Pool. To support his claim, Baldoni's legal team is looking for documents relating to or reflecting a deliberate attempt to mock, harass, ridicule, intimidate, or bully Baldoni through the character of Nice Pool. Now, for those of you who don't know, Baldoni and Ryan Reynolds' wife, they're into a legal spat. That could
just got Hugh Jackman pulled into it too. I don't know if you heard about that.
All right, tell us about it, Tom.
Well, to be as delicate as I can, considering the channel I'm on, supposedly Ryan Reynolds and Blake knew about an affair that Hugh Jackman was having all this time. That
watch it.
They kept from his wife. Yeah.
Okay. And so that's going to be part of the legal battle as well.
That's also getting involved here. And look, as far as this Baldoni thing, I mean, does he have anything to prove this? Because otherwise, this is really saying a lot about what Baldoni thinks of himself, really.
Well, beyond that,
that's what I was going to say.
If they find out that they were mocking him or harassing him or whatever, what they say is, yeah, it was satire. So what? So what?
Well,
it's satirize everybody else in the world.
Well, he's Barbara Streisanding it right now, Lou. That's the problem. Nobody knew or drew any connection to this before. Now he's saying it.
What does it say about him that he sat in a theater and watched the Nice Pool character and was like, oh man, I think that's me?
Unless he has like a text or something from somebody saying, by the way, there's this character, Nice Pool, that Ryan is doing in the Deadpool movie that is mocking you, then I can understand it. But otherwise, he's just drawing connections that aren't really there, I don't think.
Here's the thing. So Baldoni and Blake Lively, they have a major disagreement about what happened behind the scenes. Okay. And we don't know who's right. We don't know who's wrong. So we're going to be very careful about what we say about it because this is one of those, we just don't know. And so we'll have to see how it plays out.
Right.
That said, this maneuver, this legal maneuver that's happening, opens the books inside Marvel in a way that Disney does not want. And Disney does not want to be pulled in this. How did this go for Disney last time with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation? It didn't go so well. So Disney
is it going to go with Gina Carrera?
Yeah, Gina Carano, another situation that's ongoing for Disney that could open the books at Lucasfilm. So this is a situation they really don't want to have the lawyers start prying around inside, the development of Deadpool and Wolverine. So if this is a fishing expedition for dirt, we don't know that it is, but if it is, it's got to be one that has everybody.
Well, I think his lawyers have already said they have to. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on exactly with that, but yeah.
Well, do you think he's doing it to get Disney to put pressure on Blake and make them back off or settle or something? Because they'd rather do that than expose all this stuff. Who knows?
Who produced the movie that they made anyway? I don't even know who made the Blake Lively film. Okay, so it was a Disney picture as well.
I thought it was Sony.
No, you're right.
Sony.
Sony,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's a completely different studio. So yeah,
it's all right. So if you look at all the gossip rags and all that stuff, all this is really kind of done is told people that Blake Lively may not be nearly as nice as she wants you to think she is. And if you followed her story and do a deep dive, you know that's probably accurate if you're going to believe what other people are saying.
Right. So now, but the damage play is to bring in the husband now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan Reynolds is also not as nice. Oh, and Hugh Jackman, and open the books Disney. So yeah, they're really aiming.
Yeah. I think like what's the strategy? Give them a death by 1,000 cuts until you feel like you've gotten your revenge. There's no real win here for anybody. It's just kind of a bunch of petulant children.
The lawyers get paid.
Oh, it's true. The lawyers get paid. So, but
and you have a pair of what is it? Publicity companies that are duking it out too in this whole thing.
But hang on, Lou and Tom, you feel free to hop in on this as well. Here's what I'm thinking. For Mr. Baldoni, you start telling Disney and Bob Iger himself to save the stuff and open the books and get ready. The lawyers are coming. Disney is no small player in this, and Baldoni's got to think. Either he has some serious goods here, or he just angered the House of Mouse, and they're the biggest employer in Hollywood. So that's it takes some chutzpah.
Oh, I'm sure he's not really. I mean, he probably rolled the dice on this one, knowing how, big Ryan Reynolds is. If there was any chance, he already probably blacklisted him over at Disney. I get where you're coming from, and I only have a cursory knowledge of most of this thing. A lot of what I get is just randomly running into what the girls are talking about in Toxic Femme, to be honest with you. So that's I'm not kidding. I mean, this is one of their hot topics right now. And it's like, okay, once in a while I'll check in and I get kind of the lowdown on a few things here and there of what's going on. And that's pretty much where I've been brought up to speed on some of it. But like at this point, from the way I see it and going off of what you said earlier, because as far as we know, there's two sides to this story. We have no idea where the truth is going to shake out quite yet. Especially if Discovery happens and we start getting emails from Sony and Disney involved in this and all kinds of other people, who knows what's going to come out of this. But that being said, it really looks in this situation up until this nice pool thing, it was really kind of looking more in Baldoni's favor because Blake was the one who was looking like she was pushing and a lot of her claims were really lame. And the way this thing kind of played out publicly, she was the one who looked bad to begin with this whole thing. And then bringing Ryan in on top of it all, basically using your husband to swing his dick around on set. Pardon my French, but that's really what happened here. I mean, regardless of what happened outside of that to me is a real kind of low move if you're doing that to a director / star on a project that he's spearheading with you. And I mean, and the way they handled it in the press to begin with, he was pre-prepared for her to come after him, which she did. So it sounds like he was ready for this. And that, it almost to me sounds like he might be more in the right on this, but we'll have to wait and see how it shakes out.
We'll have
I hate saying that, but I've heard a lot of rumors about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds that really are supported by this kind of behavior, even before this happened. So
right, and we'll have to see. Some of the claims from both sides are egregious, and so we just got to say we'll see. We'll see how this plays out.
And I have nothing to gain from either side. And Baldoni, I don't know him from nobody, and this is the first I heard about him was this story, basically.
So and maybe the last. And maybe the last.
Yeah,
I mean, really, putting aside the fact that he'll never work for Disney again, if he ever did, and that Sony's not too happy. If you're sitting at Warner Brothers, MGM, anywhere else, don't you say, this guy's trouble, let's not get involved.
Well, he is kind of fighting for his career right now, though, if you think about it.
I'd say she's going to sink him one way or the other, maybe.
I'd say, is it possible that he's doing this, knowing that he's probably been blackballed? If he's forcing to have to, go through Discovery and all this other stuff, if he wants to work again, could he be laying the groundwork to protect himself? Because if he can't get work, then he can later turn on and say, hey, you guys aren't hiring me because of what happened here. And
That's
these
what I
two
was
are
thinking too.
responsible for it."
Yeah.
Yep.
To which they say, yeah, so
Yeah.
we have no obligation to hire you. We have no obligation at all.
In a post Gina Carano world, can you really get away with that anymore?
This is a different kind of case. This is really a different kind of case.
Yeah, and also we got to see how this Gina Carano lawsuit plays out before we call it a post Gina. But we're hoping that Gina gets the win. Nolan, let me give you the win with the final word on this topic. You think Hugh Jackman's real happy about this one, or maybe there's going to be even more celebrities who say, I'm really tired of getting these calls from the lawyers and having my dirt thrown out in front of the public right now.
Yeah, it probably gets old after a while. I mean, of course, celebrities like being in the limelight, and all that. But, the paparazzi, the bad press and stuff gets to them. And especially if you have stuff going on, like your relationships and stuff, that's a very personal thing to you. And if there's been some drama behind the scenes and demons you need to conquer, anytime this stuff's brought to the light, it's rather sickening. And I think that, honestly, this is a case of, if I'm going out, I'm taking you with me. And I think that it's going to come down to, it's a lot of pettiness. And what I can say to a broader degree, though, is I don't believe this guy should really have much of a case, because if we can't make satire or parody, because I'll be honest, I thought Nice Pool was, as someone who loved that movie, I thought it was cringe. I thought it was dumb. I thought it was kind of tacky how it was played out. But I will say, if we can't even satire characters, then what? Is Schwarzenegger going to start suing people over all his likeness and all the millions of films he's been in and parodied? I don't think it makes any sense here. And I do have to feel for Jackman and everyone else getting involved in something they probably had no business being involved with in the first place.
Well, folks, we'll keep an eye on it, and we reserve the right to be appalled at one, all, some, maybe, none at all. We'll let you know, though, what happens, and we'll keep you up to date as best we can as we continue to explain entertainment. Jonas, it's time to put the super chats up on the screen. Folks, we've had a great time. We can't wait to see what you have written for us as we get ready to say goodbye. We're going to be redirecting you to Smash JT at the end of the super chats. Don't go anywhere. Jonas, let's hit them.
All right, Chef Eddie, for $5, what do you think about Spaceballs 2 being announced? Will it be better than Disney Star Wars?
No, because it's being made by Josh Gad.
Exactly. End of story.
Josh Gadfly, more like it.
It will suck.
Just think about Josh Gad. We lose John Candy and we get Josh Gad. Has there ever been a downgrade like that?
Well, and what's worse is, I don't know if you saw the more recent story about it, is that Gad supposedly had to explain the Star Wars sequels to Mel Brooks. So it means they're probably
explain them to us.
Well, and here's the thing. Gad's all friendly with Disney, so it's not going to be anything that's going to probably... Why do I have this weird feeling that instead of it being making fun of how bad the sequels were, it's going to be making fun of the fandom in some way, shape, or form?
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Weird.
Exactly.
The villains are going to be us.
Josh Gad is also good friends with Daisy Ridley as well, or they've at least interacted very friendly on social media.
Yeah, he's really deep in at Disney. Exactly.
Yeah. Mac for $2, and Mac is so helpful. Seriously. 150K. Congrats and thanks. Thank you so much, Mac.
Thank you, Mac. You've been a part of it.
Yeah, there's one story we didn't cover about the weird coverage around Skeleton Crew not hitting the charts there. Gory-Eyed Beast for $2 Canadian. I'll bet it comes in below Marvel's Nobody Cares.
Yeah, it's a sequel to a TV show that nobody watched.
Well, that's true.
Yep. And then Chris Evans came back to really, warm up those cornflakes for him. Staccato DDS for $9.99. This movie has the same buzz as Blue Beetle, The Flash, and the Marvels. I'm thinking 50 to 60. Woo! That would be Fantastic Four numbers right there.
If you got the whole 100% of the 50-60, would it pay for any one of the reshoot sessions?
No, definitely not.
We'll
Especially considering how much of that money actually makes it back to Disney.
We'll be here to cover this, folks. I promise. We're not going anywhere. And if it makes that kind of, if it loses this kind of money, it needs $1 billion. It needs $1 billion.
Bold new strategy is a tax shelter. I told you guys.
To pay taxes, you have to make money.
Time for Iger and Disney.
That would be an entertaining movie.
I legitimately think they know that it's going to be a financial bath. At this point, they are just doing damage control on their image and on the brand going forward.
Mm. It's going to be so bad. Regina Sharp for $5. Everything Kevin said is pretty much what ruined Falcon Cap in the comics, too.
It doesn't matter. It's a fake movie. If I'm doing a fake movie, it's going to be a fake hit.
That was a great movie.
Yeah. SFX Sabretooth Raptor for $5. How about a revival of silent movies? Charlie Chaplin. Are we talking about a revival of Charlie Chaplin? Because RDJ did a pretty good job. Or are we talking about silent
Maybe they
movies
want to bring him back from the dead.
Mel Brooks did silent movie.
My favorite version of the Marvels is silent.
I think that Snow White would probably be better as a silent film. Yeah. The Rachel Zegler one, that is, of course.
That's right. Cricket sounds on demand, folks. That's what you get right here on the Pro Channel. Jonas, do we have any more super chats before we go?
That is the end of the super chats. But I just want to say thanks to Vash Guy out there, because Vash has been very helpful in doing some things here to help out the Pro Channel specifically. So, Vash, I hope you're having a good night out there tonight.
That's right. Folks, this would be the typical time we would go through around the horn and tell you about each panelist's channels and passions and what you need to go see that they're doing next. But listen, Smash JT is doing a live stream, and I'm afraid if we go much longer, we're going to miss out on the chance to go raid Smash JT. So with apologies to the panel, we're going to go rather quickly this time, just so we can get over there and have a good time supporting Smash JT in his battle against the baddies and, well, the gaming industry wokeification. So we're going to go over there. Folks,
I'm on that part.
What just... That son of a gun plugged his channel anyway. That son of a... That piece of...
The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are...
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So, folks, as we always say as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still, he got back to his feet. Standing man.